Okay, so section 3.5, we're going to be solving systems of inequalities. Now, I kind of mentioned this before the recording. If you need a reference to find out how you're supposed to draw the line, dashed or solid, whether you should shade above or below, you're going to look at section 2. Did I say 2.4 or 5? Okay, 2.4 for guidelines, okay? So that you can see which way the lines are supposed to look, solid or dashed, shading above or below. It's all right there, okay? I don't want to waste 20 minutes writing all that stuff down again. We already have done it once. So what you guys are going to be doing today is basically section 2.4, but instead of one line and graphing it, you're going to be doing 2 lines per graph, okay? So I am going to be working on some of your homework problems here just so that you guys know. So we're going to try to do 3 of them for you. Okay, so they're going to say the first one is the point a solution to the inequality. Okay, you only have 2 of these questions. They're on the back page. If you look at the back page, you can see it right now. There's only 2 questions, okay? But there's only 2 questions in the back, and they're asking you, is this point a solution to these inequalities? And they're going to give you 2 of them. Let's say it's like y greater than negative 2x plus 1, and the other one might be like y less than, I don't know, let's say 3. And they're going to give you a point as well. So it's going to look like this. They might put like a 2, negative 1. They're going to ask you, is that point a solution to those inequalities? All you have to do is plug it in. Okay? Just plug it in into both of them and see if it works. Wherever x is, you're going to write 2. Wherever y is, you're going to write negative 1. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. So let's start with the top equation, okay? The top equation is going to look like this. Negative 1 is greater than negative 2 times 2 plus 1. Because notice, the x equal to 2, I plugged it in where the x goes. And the y equal to negative 1, I put it in where the y is. Okay, this is this equation right here. All right, that's that equation. Just plugging in a 2 and negative 1. So I get negative 1 is greater than negative 4 plus 1. So negative 1 is greater than negative 3. Is that true or false? That's true. Okay, so far so good. Now let's do this equation. There's no x in that equation, but there is a y, and it says negative 1 is less than 3. Well, is that true? Is negative 1 less than 3? Yeah, it is. So it's true for both, right? This is true here. This is true here. So when they ask you, is it a solution, you're going to write yes. Okay? So my answer is yes. It's a solution. If one of these would have come out false, then it's a no. If they're both false, it's a no. Okay? But if they're both true, then it is a solution. Is that pretty easy? Just plug in a number. Okay? And they're only giving you 2 problems like this, so it's not like you're going to be doing this all day. Just twice, you're going to plug in x and y wherever you can, and you're going to check. Does it result in a true statement or a false statement? If it's true for both, say yes. If it's true for one, false for the other, you say no. Okay, as long as one of them doesn't work, then it's not a solution. It has to work for both. Okay, so there's one example of the 2. Now, this is not a homework problem, just so you know. I didn't want to take, you only have 2, so I made one up for you guys. Okay, the next ones, these are going to be homework problems. So here are the next ones. This is what they tell us. Sketch the solution. Now, you know, when I've been graphing before, we've had answers, and the answers were supposed to be points, right? You're supposed to get a point as a solution, and that's what they were expecting, a point. With inequalities, it's not a point. It's a certain area, okay? And you're going to see right now what it looks like. So let's try this one right here. This is one of your homework problems. It's not number one, but it is one of them. So y is less than 4/3 x plus 3, and y is less than negative 1/3 x minus 2. Now this would be considered one of the easier problems. The reason why I would say this is one of the easier problems, why would you think I'd say this is easier?
Both fractions have the same denominator.
Well, they do have the same denominator, but that's not what I would call it easier, though. Not that that's a bad thing.
Oh,
It's what? It's easier to add. Oh, you mean like to move things over? I don't have to move things over, and that's why it's easier. What is it?
30 to the 3.
Sorry. Okay. It's already set up for me, right? Which is what you said, which is why you were saying it looks so simple, right? Notice they're both already solved for y. If they're already solved for y, that means I don't have to solve for y. That means they took that whole step away from me, right? That's why I say these are easier. The harder one we're going to do later, trust me, we're going to have to fix it, okay? But not that it's hard to do. It's just this is so nice because it's already done for me. Okay, I don't have to do anything. So let me just draw a graph here. I'll put it over here. I'm going to make it large enough so that I can make sure everything fits, hopefully. So this is a 6x6. I think a 4x4 will work, but I'm just playing it safe. If you're good at drawing these, I think it's going to take you longer to draw the grid than it is to actually do the whole problem, especially if it's already solved for y. So again, if it's solved for y for you, those are the ones we call the easier ones because you don't have to do any work for them. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little red dot next to the top equation. I'm going to put a little green dot next to the bottom equation. That way we know which line is which, okay? So here we go. The red dot. Where do I start on the top equation? Positive 3 on the y-axis. Good. On the y-axis. And then from there, my slope is 4/3 positive. So I'm going to go up 3 over, okay? Even though I go out of range, but I'm still good because I have graph paper here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 over. All right. What kind of line is this? Dashed or solid? It's dashed. Yeah, it says less than, right? So dash line. Remember, you're going to want to draw it the whole length of the graph. And which way am I going to shade, above or below? Since it says less than. Below, okay? So give me a second while I try to get this thing colored in. I can make the marker a lot thicker, but the problem is then when I try to highlight small things, then it's like too thick, so then I gotta make it thinner, so I'll just deal with having to color a little bit. There we go. All right, there's that one, okay? But I'm not done. I gotta do 2 for 1, right? So let's graph the green line. Okay, where do I start with that one? Negative 2 on the y-axis. So here we go, and my slope is negative 1/3. That means 1 down, 3 to the right. 1 down, 3 to the right. Okay, so now what kind of line? Dashed or solid?
Dash.
That's a dashed line, right? So I'm hearing you. I can hear someone saying dash very quietly. I do hear you. Okay. Above or below? Which way should I color it? Above or below? Below, because it says less than, right? So look, I'm going to start with my blue color right here, okay? And I'm going to start coloring it in. And look what happens naturally as soon as that blue color meets the yellow color. And the reason why I love that is because the green portion is your answer. And if you're using colors, it's going to automatically reveal the solution for you. You don't have to do anything extra. It just naturally does it. The green area is my answer. Okay? I'm going to kind of put that right here. And you don't have to write this down. You don't have to write the green area is the answer. You just need to know it. As long as you draw that out, you're fine. Okay, that is your answer. The picture is your solution. Okay, you don't have to write anything else. The picture speaks for itself. That section is your solution. Now, I've had some students say, well, Mr. V, I don't have colors. How do I do that? Okay, and I'm going to kind of show you really quick. This is the way I used to do it because if you don't have markers or crayons or anything like that, don't feel bad. Like I didn't either. Okay, so this is how I used to do it. Let's pretend I had to color the solid line above. So I would draw perpendicular lines to it like this, okay? And then let's pretend that the dash line was supposed to be below. So I would draw perpendicular lines like this to that line. And then what would happen naturally is you see how the hash marks come out? So the part that looks like hash marks, okay, that's what your answer would look like. If you're not using colors, try to be neat. Try to like draw straight lines in one direction, straight lines in the other. That way when they cross each other, and you can see this is the section that is your answer. Okay? So you don't have to go buy colors or anything. I just think it's kind of neat that the colors automatically occur with highlighters. It's kind of nice, right? A little bit of science, a little bit of math there. Okay? But if you don't want to go buy anything, don't feel bad. I didn't have that stuff either. I just used to draw nice lines, and they would eventually cross each other, and that was good enough. All right. Let me give you another one. Another homework problem. Y is less than 2. Y is greater than 5x minus 3. Now this might look like it's another easy one, which it is, but there's just a little bit of a tricky aspect to it because the top equation is missing a letter, right? So since the top equation is missing a letter, it could create a bit of confusion if you don't remember how to handle that. Again, I'm just making it big enough so that it fits my graph here. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me erase that. It wasn't lined up to the coordinates, and since I'm a little OCD, I don't like that. All right. Again, I'm going to use a green color here, or red color for the top equation. I'll use a green color for the bottom one. That way you know which graph is which. Let's draw the green one first. Actually, no, let's draw the red one first. That way it's a little bit more obvious to see. All right. It says y is less than 2. What does a graph of y only look like? How is it? It's flat. It's flat, right? The y equal or y less than, y greater than, they're flat lines straight across. If it's x, they're straight up and down. Y, side to side. So I'm just going to go to 2, and I'm going to put a little dot right there. Okay, real small dot. It says less than. So that means my line is going to be a dash. And then I'm going to color it in. Well, since it says less than, it's going to be below. Okay, so here we go. I'm coloring it below. As usual, like it's just, I draw a big graph, so it takes me a little longer. If you don't want to draw one that big, it won't take as long. So there you go. All right. The next one says y is greater than 5x minus 3. Let me change my pen here. Where do I start for that one? Negative 3. All right. So starting at negative 3. What's my slope? 5 over 1, which means from that green point, I'm going to go up 5 once over. Okay. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 over, that's right here. Solid or dashed line? This is a dashed line, right? So here we go. And which way am I graphing, above or below? Above, okay? So I'm going to get my blue highlighter here. Okay? And I'm just going to kind of start shading above the line. As usual, it takes a little bit of time, but see, I love to draw. So when I was doing this for homework, I used to enjoy this section because I'm like, cool, I get to draw again. So for me, these were like the best. Anything that had to do with graphing, I actually enjoyed when I was in high school. Anything else, I didn't really like it too much. But the drawing stuff I like. So there you go. That green section is your solution. And you're done. You don't have to write anything. You don't have to write a sentence. Nothing. That's it. That's your solution. I'm gonna do one more for you guys. That way you guys have 3 of these to do for homework, and then 2 problems in the back. But before I move on, any questions on this? So the next one for sure is going to have less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, because we haven't done any of those yet. So we're gonna do a little bit of each. Okay. So here we go. Last problem. So we're going to do x minus y less than or equal to -1, and x plus y is less than 3. Now this is considered a hard one. It may not look that tough, but there's something that's going to happen that might mess you up. So just be careful. Remember, when you have to solve for y, I do not like them to be one on top of the other. It's kind of tough, right? So I'm going to write them out side by side, okay? So x minus y less than or equal to -1. And at the same time, I'm going to change colors for each one of them. That way, when we graph it, it already is obviously red and green, right? So there we go. I mean, if you guys are wondering, like, man, he changes a lot of colors and stuff like that, I'm so sad that I threw away all my college work 2 years ago. Like, I literally had kept it for over 20 years. All of my math work, all of my science, everything I ever did in college were inside of like 2 Xerox boxes. They were all rolled up and put in rubber bands, everything. I wish I would have kept it because I would show you guys what my homework looked like. It never looked like this when I was in high school, but when I got to college, I had to get so organized that I literally had colors all over because that's the easiest way for me to follow. I'm a visual learner. I have to see stuff. If I can't just get a bunch of notes and just see black ink and all of a sudden it makes sense. Like you put colors in there, things start to make sense. So you see my notes look the same way. So again, you guys can do the same if you want to or not. It's up to you. I just think it helps. Someone who's a visual learner, it helps to see colors. So, all right, here we go. I got to solve for y, both of them, okay? Let's start with the left side. If I want y by itself, let's subtract the x, okay? So we're subtracting x first. So I get -y less than or equal to -x minus 1, okay? I still need to get y out by itself. So I got to divide everything by -1. But what am I supposed to do when I divide an inequality by a negative number on all sides? Yeah, I got to move it around, right? So this is going to be greater than or equal to. That's the part that I'm telling you could mess you up. Be careful. Okay. So dividing both sides of an inequality by a negative makes you switch the symbol. So instead of less than or equal to, now we're at greater than or equal to, okay? Now the next one's pretty easy to do because y is positive. So if I just subtract x on both sides, I get y less than -x plus 3. So there, I'm done. I got them both done. Let me draw a graph, and I'm done with the lesson. Okay, so here we go. I think that should be more than enough. Remember, your homework will have your graph for you, so that's kind of nice. All right, let's do the red one first. That's what we've been doing. Red first, green second. Doesn't matter. Just, just kind of going in the same pattern. So I'm going to start where with the red one? Positive 1, right? The B value is where you begin, and then your slope, your M, is where you move. What's my slope? 1/1, right? It's right here. We just don't see it, right? But it is 1/1. So I'm going to go 1 up, 1 over. Is the line solid or is it dashed? This one is a solid line, okay? Above or below? It says greater than or equal to. This is above. So let's go ahead and color this in above. So here we go. All right, next one. Changing over to green. Where do I start with that one? Positive 3. From positive 3, how do I move? Down 1 and to the what? Right. To the right. Always move to the right. If you move up, it's right. Down is right. The only time you go left is if you run out of room on your graph and you got to do everything in the opposite direction. But always run right. Always run right. So down 1/1, that's right here. It's this point right here. Solid or dashed line? This one is dash, right? Because it says less than only, right? So dash line, and all I need to do is color it in. It says less than, so above or below? Below. So I'm just curious, what happens? I wonder what happens if I put I think a green color stays green. Yeah, see, that doesn't work. What happens with pink? Yeah, it becomes peach. So I guess different colors will work nicely too. Just, I guess since you're a little kid, you kind of learn like yellow and blue make green, right? If you played with Play-Doh a lot when you were little, you learned a lot of color combinations. And you learned that if you combined everything, not only would you get like black, but your parents would get really mad at you because now you had no colors and you'd complain that you can't make grass anymore because everything's just black. So here you go. So there you go. This is what your math homework is going to look like today.